The morning sun barely touched the empty bus stop on Highway 47 when Sarah Mitchell made the most devastating decision of her life. Her daughter Emma, now 16 years old, sat quietly in her wheelchair, humming softly to herself. The cerebral palsy that had shaped Emma's entire existence had also slowly eroded Sarah's spirit over the years. Medical bills had crushed her financially. The endless appointments, sleepless nights, and constant care had left her hollow inside. Sarah's hands trembled as she positioned the wheelchair near the bench. She told herself this was mercy, that Emma deserved better than what she could provide. The lies we tell ourselves in moments of desperation are often the cruelest. She placed a worn backpack beside her daughter, containing a change of clothes and Emma's favorite stuffed rabbit. No identification. No note. Nothing that could trace this moment back to her. Emma looked up at her mother with those trusting brown eyes, completely unaware that goodbye was coming. Sarah kissed her forehead, whispering words that caught in her throat. Then she walked back to her car, forcing herself not to look back. The engine started. The tires rolled forward. And just like that, she drove away from 16 years of motherhood. Emma continued humming her melody, watching the cars pass by on the highway. She didn't understand abandonment. Her mind processed the world differently, finding joy in simple things like the warmth of sunlight and the sound of birds chirping nearby. 20 minutes passed. Then an hour. The morning grew warmer, and Emma began to feel thirsty. That's when the rumble of motorcycle engines cut through the quiet morning air. 5 bikes appeared on the horizon, their chrome glinting in the sunlight. The Iron Brotherhood Motorcycle Club was heading home from their annual charity ride. They had no idea they were about to discover something that would change everything. Marcus Bear Johnson saw her first. As the club's road captain, he always rode ahead, scanning for hazards. What he spotted made his blood run cold. A teenage girl in a wheelchair, alone at a deserted bus stop, with no adult in sight. He raised his fist, signaling the group to stop. The 5 motorcycles pulled over in perfect formation, engines cutting to silence. Bear approached slowly, not wanting to frighten the girl. Up close, he could see she was sweating in the heat, her lips dry and cracked. Her backpack had tipped over, spilling its meager contents onto the concrete. The stuffed rabbit lay in the dirt. Emma looked up at these leather-clad strangers with curious eyes, still humming that same gentle tune. "Hey there, sweetheart," Bear said softly, kneeling beside her wheelchair. "Where's your mom or dad?" Emma smiled but didn't answer with words. She pointed toward the road, then shrugged, her communication limited but her trust absolute. The other bikers gathered around, their tough exteriors cracking as they realized what they were witnessing. Tommy Wrench Rodriguez pulled out his phone, immediately calling emergency services. Meanwhile, Jessica Jax Chen, the only female member present, grabbed water from her stole bag and helped Emma drink. The girl gulped it desperately, making it clear she'd been there for far too long. Marcus examined the backpack, finding no identification, no phone, no emergency contacts. Just clothes and that rabbit. The reality hit them like a freight train. This child had been abandoned. Deliberately left behind like unwanted furniture. Rage burned through Marcus's chest, but he forced himself to stay calm. Emma needed comfort, not anger. The dispatcher confirmed police and an ambulance were 20 minutes away. 20 minutes felt like an eternity as they stood guard around this vulnerable girl. Emma reached out and touched Marcus's bearded face, giggling softly. Despite her circumstances, she radiated innocence and warmth. In that moment, something shifted in these hardened bikers. They'd found abandoned animals before, helped stranded motorists, raised money for children's hospitals. But this was different. This was personal. This was war. Detective Linda Ramirez arrived at County General Hospital 3 hours after Emma's admission. The medical staff had stabilized the teenager, treating her for dehydration and sunburn exposure. What they couldn't treat was the psychological trauma of abandonment, though Emma's cognitive differences meant she might never fully comprehend what had happened to her. Linda had worked child services cases for 12 years, but each one still gutted her. The Iron Brotherhood members refused to leave the hospital. They'd positioned themselves in the waiting room like sentinels, their presence both intimidating and oddly comforting. Linda interviewed each biker separately, gathering details about the discovery. Marcus provided the exact location, time, and condition they'd found Emma in. His statement was precise, methodical, and simmering with barely controlled fury. "Whoever did this needs to face justice," Marcus told Linda, his jaw tight. That little girl was roasting out there. Another hour in that heat could have killed her. Linda nodded, already forming a strategy. The backpack yielded no immediate clues, but forensics would process every fiber. Security cameras from nearby businesses might have captured vehicles passing by that morning. Meanwhile, hospital social worker Patricia Green conducted a gentle assessment of Emma. The teenager's medical bracelet revealed a crucial detail that earlier confusion had obscured. Emma Mitchell was her name, and she was a registered patient at Riverside Care Center, a facility 30 miles away. Patricia's phone calls revealed that Sarah Mitchell had checked Emma out yesterday for a weekend home visit that was supposed to end today. The pieces were falling into place rapidly now. Linda obtained Sarah's address from the care center and dispatched units immediately. She returned to the waiting room where the bikers still maintained their vigil. Jax had purchased a new stuffed rabbit from the hospital gift shop, which Emma now clutched tightly. The sight of these tough individuals showing such gentleness created an unusual picture. "We're locating her mother now," Linda informed them. "You all did something extraordinary today. You saved this girl's life." Marcus shook his head firmly. "Saving her life was just the beginning, Detective. We're going to make sure she gets the future she deserves." Police found Sarah Mitchell at her apartment, packing boxes. She'd been planning to disappear, to start fresh somewhere new without the burden of her disabled daughter weighing her down. When officers knocked on her door, the color drained from her face. She knew immediately why they'd come. There was no fight left in her, no denials or excuses ready. She simply crumbled onto her couch and wept. At the station, Sarah's confession poured out in broken sentences. The financial devastation. The isolation from friends who couldn't understand her life. The resentment that had built like poison in her veins. She described leaving Emma at that bus stop, convincing herself someone would find her quickly, that the state would provide better care than she ever could. Her words were soaked in self-pity and hollow justification. Detective Ramirez listened without sympathy. She'd heard every excuse imaginable over the years. "Your daughter sat in 90-degree heat for over an hour," Linda stated coldly. "She could have died from heat stroke or been taken by predators. You didn't call for help. You didn't arrange safe placement. You abandoned a helpless child and drove away." Sarah had no response that could make any of it acceptable. The charges came swiftly: child abandonment, child endangerment, and neglect. Sarah's bail was set high enough to ensure she'd remain in custody. The news spread quickly through local media outlets. "Woman abandons disabled daughter at bus stop." The story sparked outrage across social media platforms. People couldn't fathom how a mother could commit such an act against her own child. Back at the hospital, the Iron Brotherhood was making plans of their own. Marcus had contacted the club's full membership, explaining Emma's situation. The response was unanimous and immediate. They would ensure this girl received everything she needed. Club treasurer Raymond Numbers Patterson began organizing a fundraiser. Jack started researching care facilities and legal guardianship options. Emma remained blissfully unaware of the chaos surrounding her. She watched cartoons in her hospital room, ate strawberry ice cream that Wrench had brought her, and smiled at every nurse who checked on her. Her resilience was remarkable, her spirit unbroken by the mother who'd tried to throw her away. These bikers had found her by chance, but they were choosing to stay by conviction. 3 months later, Judge Margaret Foster reviewed the most unusual guardianship petition her courtroom had ever seen. The Iron Brotherhood Motorcycle Club, through its charitable foundation, was requesting collective guardianship of Emma Mitchell. They'd presented a comprehensive care plan, secured housing through member donations, and arranged for professional medical support through their extensive fundraising efforts. The courtroom was packed with club members, their leather vests replaced with respectful dress clothes. Marcus stood as the primary spokesperson, his testimony powerful and unwavering. "We didn't plan to become Emma's family," he told the judge. "But from the moment we found her alone at that bus stop, we knew we couldn't walk away. She deserves people who will fight for her, protect her, and show her what real love looks like. We're prepared to be those people for as long as she needs us." The club had transformed one member's property into a fully accessible home for Emma, complete with ramps, specialized equipment, and round-the-clock care provided by licensed professionals they'd hired. They'd established a trust fund that had already reached over $200,000 through their relentless fundraising. Local businesses had rallied behind their cause, inspired by these unlikely heroes who'd saved a discarded child. Judge Foster reviewed psychological evaluations, home studies, and character references that painted a clear picture. Emma was thriving under their interim care. She'd gained weight, her medical needs were being meticulously managed, and most importantly, she was happy. The psychologist's report noted significant positive changes in Emma's demeanor and engagement with her surroundings. Sarah Mitchell had pleaded guilty to all charges and received a 5-year sentence. She'd forfeited all parental rights without contest, finally admitting she was incapable of providing what Emma needed. There was no redemption arc for her, no last-minute realization that brought her back into her daughter's life. Some failures are too profound to overcome. Judge Foster made her ruling. Guardianship granted. The courtroom erupted in applause as Marcus wiped tears from his eyes. Emma, sitting in her wheelchair beside him, clapped along without fully understanding but feeling the joy surrounding her. What began as a morning motorcycle ride had evolved into something extraordinary. These bikers hadn't just rescued a girl from a bus stop. They'd given her a family that chose her, fought for her, and proved that real strength isn't found in muscles or motorcycles but in the courage to love someone society had deemed disposable.